Alright people, you might be watching this going, what the hell insanity is Dave up to right now? Getting on a freaking Harley. Well, it's not my Harley, it's my wife's. And going over to Frazier's Harley Davidson down the street from the house to get it appraised to sell it. This experiment, sometimes you buy bikes and they work out really well and they're great. Or like my Tracer, they end up not being a great fit. In this case, she was riding her Ducati Super Sport, which we thought would be a great, comfortable, all-around sport bike and sport tourer for her. Rode it down to Thunder Beach and PCB, and she was in agony. I'm not saying my wife's getting old, but she's gonna be 56 this year. She's got some back issues, which is really the problem. And at her age and my age, I had the similar issues on my Tracer. Yeah, it happens to everybody. Age starts catching up, old injuries, shit like that. So she's got two fusions, one in her lumbar, I think between L4 and L5, I think, and then one up in her neck. So you add age to some, significant back issues, and certain bikes are you're gonna start having a problem with ergonomically. This is the first time I've actually really rode this bike out of the subdivision. So, anyway, what we've got is a situation where we got down to Panama City Beach, went down there for Bike Week, and she was in agony on the Ducati. It just was killing her back. So we're like, well, let's go shopping for bikes. It's Bike Week. Well, we went around all the Japanese places and usual places, and there really wasn't much she was interested in. And then we saw, 500 people over at the Harley Davidson dealer, and they had some big show going on, all kinds of stuff. And so she started looking at Harleys. Her dad's been into Harleys. He's a member of the Combat Vets MC, and we got other friends with Harleys and cruisers and stuff. And she's like, well, maybe it's time for me to go get a damn cruiser. Harleys are, for that purpose, are really good bikes. What's this asshole doing on my side of the fucking road? And then you've got their dealer network, frankly, is second to none. I mean, you could be up at the tail of the dragon in the middle of nowhere, and there's a freaking Harley dealer right at the beginning of the Charahala. I think I remember the blinkers are on each side. So anyway, she sat on it. It was comfortable. It's got cruise control and safety systems and a horn apparently. And then touchscreen navigation and Apple CarPlay and a stereo system and ABS luggage. It's a cool bike. I mean, if I didn't have my other bikes, I would have considered just buying this from her, honestly. Have one sport bike and then have something like this that I could just tool around on and go on a trip. Because this is made for just eating up miles and comfort. The problem is it's 830 pounds plus rider, so you can't chuck it around in the mountains. You can't do a track day on it. And if you're my wife with a bad back and all that stuff, it's a lot of weight. When she's sitting on this bike, it's 900 and something pound, or it would be 900 at her weight to 830. Yeah, it's over 900 pounds. You get the better part of a half of ton of machine. That is a lot of freaking weight. The bike she's looking at is a Tuono 660 factory edition, fully fueled, 400 pounds plus rider. So you're talking about a 400 pound weight reduction. That's 3 times her body weight. It's ridiculous. So we're going to go in and get it appraised and see if she can sell it. I think it's cool. I mean, this thing just glides around turns. This has the 108 motor, so it's not the 114 or the 117. I'd rather see that. with those, you got to get into the CVO models or maybe the Fat Bob or something. But I mean, it's torquey, it's fun. It actually just kind of glides around the turns. This has got the mini apes. I would have preferred to keep it stock. I liked it a little longer, a little lower and forward. But I also have a longer reach. So for me, I'm having to almost lean back so that my arms aren't all bunched up. I have a feeling this is bothering my neck after a while. But, you know, the stereo system's pretty decent. The navigation is nice. You don't have to have your phone there. In fact, you could just put it in that push-button cubby on the right. All right. I don't know how much ground clearance I got, so... You know, for a big bike, I mean, it'll move a little bit. It's not going to keep up with my Speed Twin or a sport bike, obviously, but... I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't pay this much money for a bike. This bike with the upgrades and the Reinhardt exhaust and the mini apes and the RDSR or whatever the damn, some extra rider safety systems that were an option. Yeah, you're looking at taxes and fees, you're looking at a $30,000 bike. I wouldn't spend that much on a bike personally, but it is. For what it is, man, it's a nice bike. The brakes are fairly decent. It's actually stopping better than I thought it would. So, we'll do a little ride on the way home. Chat a little bit more about it. Go turn around and go back into one of those spots. But she just struggles with the weight of it. That's really what it is. It's the cost and the weight. She doesn't not ride enough to justify this kind of expense. And when you look at how much it weighs, she can't back it out of a spot herself. It's just, you know. One thing I don't like about Harleys is that if it's in gear and you put the kickstand down, it doesn't have a kill switch. So if you let the clutch out, your bike's going to fall over. I don't know why they haven't added that. Anyway, we'll go and see what they have to say. So they're doing an appraisal. They're about $1,000 short of where we want to be, but I think they'll come back with a little bit of. I think they'll come back and get it close enough. I gotta say, it's actually a really nice bike. Let's take it up on the highway. Take that way home. The whole turn signal thing always messes me up. I'm not used to having one on each side. But it's got a really nice dash. You got a nice stereo, big analog gauges. Very clean, very classy. Sounds great. Pretty good job of keeping most of the wind off me, although there's some buffeting on my helmet. Don't have much hit me in the chest in here, but my head's popping around a little bit. What gear am I in? Does this thing have a gear indicator? Guess not. No, I guess I'm in 6. It's got cruise control. I got no friggin' idea how to use it. I will say the thing on this Harley, it's got a lot of cool technology. But it's also got like buttons and sliders up here. You've got all these frickin' buttons and joysticks, and you got buttons and joysticks over here, as well as shit on the screen and, you know, touch screen. So there's a lot on here, but it, to me, is not as intuitive as some of the other systems I've seen. Especially having them split between 2 control pods. This is definitely a bike you gotta kind of learn all the systems. Oh Wow, are we really cruising along at a 105? Huh. I guess I'll back it down a little bit. Didn't even realize it. I wouldn't say it's got much more than that. If this bike could hit 120, I'd say that's about it. It's got the aerodynamics of a pumpkin. A very, very large, heavy pumpkin. That means it doesn't have a lot of aerodynamics, in case you're not following. I would say, you know, in the wintertime, that kind of wind protection is good, other than the buffeting of the helmet, but I could probably move down or up or, you know, do something, or even get a slightly different screen. The problem is, like, that'd be great in the summertime. Keeps the wind right off, I'm sorry, in the wintertime, keep the wind right off you, keep you warm. But it's not even that hot out, but I'm not getting any wind on my jacket. So I've got a mesh jacket that breathes. Maybe this is why Harley guys never wear gear. It's got a great sound. It's not real powerful, but it's just got nice, good linear torque. It sounds great. It's a really good sounding bike. And that just has a slip-on, so that means it's still got the big cat box underneath. I think the slip-ons were like 800 bucks or something for the Reinhardts. They're really nice, machined end caps, things like that. This really isn't a bad bike. I would strongly consider it if I didn't have the other two bikes. You know, I'd just swap payments with her, go get her whatever she wants, and she can make that payment, and I'd take over this one. I've already got to, and I don't like it so much that I would get rid of my ZX14 or my Speed Twin. But honestly, for doing trips and just munching up miles in comfort, your feet are out in front of you, I'd probably have to do something about, I don't know, getting more air to hit me, because it's not even the hot, well, it's getting really warm, but like on a super hot summer day in the south with the humidity, it'd be really hard to stick to my regimen of always wearing gear. I mean, I'm wearing a mesh jacket, but it's got all the maximum rated armor. I pulled out all the armor that came with and upgraded it all to much better armor. I got a much better back protector. So as far as mesh jackets go, this Icon jacket's actually pretty heavy duty. And it breathes really well, but not when I got a whole freaking wall in front of me. Summer or winter time, it'd be awesome. Not so much here. I'm definitely starting to sweat here. For me personally, I'd probably rather have less of this kind of fairing, let the wind be on me, and then just bundle up with the right gear or heated gear or something in the winter time. But you think about when you might do your touring. Well, you're probably going to do it in the, you know, the hotter months. And if we went out to the southwest or somewhere, or, you know, in the heat of summer and it's 110 degrees out, I think you'd, I mean, I know people do it. Maybe it's just me. I think I'd be kind of miserable. I tend to do much better in the cold than I do in the heat. I think it's being born in the north, and maybe the fact that I got extra insulation, let's say. So in the cold months, my friends are like, oh, it's 48 degrees, it's too cold. And I'm like, no way, man, let's go ride, it's awesome. You're not sweating, comfortable, just have a good set of gloves, keep your neck warm with one of those baklava or whatever that shit is you throw on your neck. But man, this thing just glides around turns. Very stable, haven't felt any weird wobble. Actually, you know, I'm surprised I was going 105 or 106, at least according to the speedometer. But I didn't feel any of those little speed wobbles or things that people talk about. Maybe it's only the Sportsters. But I honestly didn't even realize I was going that fast. And maybe I wasn't. Maybe the speedometer's off 10% and I was only doing 95. But still, just rolling along at 95, I did not feel like I was doing that. Well, yeah, I'm actually sweating in my helmet because I'm not getting any goddamn air. That would be a big strike against it for me. I also don't like the mini apes. Never been a fan of those things. Open my visor so I get a little bit of air in here. Oy. Yeah, sitting here sweating. And it's only like 84 degrees. It's not that hot. But I'm just sitting here in all black gear and no wind. All in all, it's not a bad bike. I always goof on Harleys and shit, but honestly, this is a really nice bike.